Hey guys, it's your girl Lacey, and I'm coming to you with a review for American Horror Story, Season 5 Hotel. The episode is called Checking In, and it's episode 1. So we're going to go jumping right to it. So the episode starts off with, I believe, two European models coming in. They come into the hotel, they check in. They're new to America, they've never been apparently, and they want to see all the sights of LA. They ask the cab driver where Universal Studios is, and he's like, oh, it's 10 blocks or 10 miles or something. And the other girl was talking to the other lady. She was like, I thought you said all the attractions were close to one another. Like, that's what it said on the website. So they go and check in. And Kathy Bates' character is there. And so she's at the front desk, and then she gives them the key, shows them to their room, and there's a nasty ass smell. One of the girls goes to get ice, and then she comes back. The other girl she has lit candles. She can't get rid of the smell. So they figure out the smell is coming from the mattress. So they cut it open, and then this diseased man, I think, jumps out of it. And so then they go to the Kathy Bates, and she gives them another room, and she says, "Oh, I'm not going to charge you for the room." And they basically asked when are the cops coming, and she was like, "You know what? The cops will get here when they get here. You just wait in this room and be grateful that we're not going to charge you for punitive damages for basically cutting open an already sliced up mattress. Like, what the fuck type of mattress is that? Like, what? This shit looks so weird." I'm like, well, this is Ryan Murphy, so you know how he is. Um, so then they get into the room. They're sleeping for a while. The girl, she doesn't know where her friend is, or her. So I don't know if they're related or not, but she doesn't know where she is, and so she's looking for her. And then she goes to the bathroom, and she sees her on the ground, and she sees these two kids feeding off of her. And then it goes to like the little, American Horror Story commercial and everything. When it comes back, you see basically when it comes back, it jumps to the scene of the officer. It's Wes Bentley. I don't know what his name is in the episode, but the officer, um, he has arrived to a scene of another residence. I'm not sure if it was a hotel or an apartment. But it's a man and a woman, and they're having sex with one another. They're married, but not to each other. So they're, committing adultery, which I don't condone. But basically, their hands are like nailed to the headboard, like the Jesus cross figure or whatever, a Jesus Christ cross figure. Call him Christ cross. And there's like a spear that's going straight through the lady. I think through her rib, kind of reenacting the whole cross thing. And then the man, his his tongue and his eyes have been cut out, and they're in a bowl. And there's pictures of their family all around them, and candles are lit. And I guess it's the symbology. There's whole like black holes drawn into the characters. And I guess the symbology is that their families were blind to them having an affair with one another. Um, and they're trying to get the man out. The man is still alive. What the Wes Bentley's character figures out is that there's some glue. I don't know if it's super glue, but it's some glue or whatever, or some hormones, and it's under the bed. He's glued inside her, and you need to get him out of her. Um, he said there must have been some potency chemicals pumped into him, so he's probably still very hard, and he's in her. Um, and then it's like they flashed at him going to his office. He's getting a call from some strange number. The number is insisting that he talks to Wes Bentley's character, and he's like, "Nah, I'm talking to my daughter." And he reads the daughter a bedtime story, and it's so sweet. The daughter wants him to talk to the mom, but the mom wants nothing to do with him right now. She doesn't want to talk to him. So then it forwards to this scene. There's a junkie, and actually the junkie is the same man who played Ronnie in episode 2 on Manhunt of the assassination of Gianni Versace, the one that was kicking it with Andrew Cunanan. I forget his name, but that's why I know he is. He goes and um, he's flamboyant or whatever, and he goes, he's obviously like really very much so a junkie. He goes up to his room when he gets the key, and he's like, I thought it was 130. She's like, no, it's 150 because we had upped the prices after the remodeling. He's like, whatever. He goes upstairs. He's walking. The other Liz Taylor is flirting with him. He's like, the fuck, I don't like you. And then he keeps going. He gets into his room. I think it's 64, and he's getting high. He's shooting up. I think it's heroin or something, or some China White, some shit. So he's shooting up, and then he gets high, and the the maid that was that's basically, she's dead, and she's a ghost. She's been cleaning up for years. She said she can clean up any stain. She told him, when people die, they soil themselves. Blood, shit, urine. I can get it all out. Any stain. There's nothing too great for me to get out. Which I was like, ew, the fuck. Okay. So then he sees this pinkish creature, and it's coming out from the wall, and it's like, he's like, did I see that right? And she starts laughing, and then he looks again, and it's right there. The creature flips him over and pulls his pants down, basically rapes him anally. And he's high as fuck, but he can still feel that shit. It's like, you ever been high or drunk, and then something real happened, and you snap out of it a little bit? Yeah, that high didn't last too long. And then when he was going up the stairs, Sally was like, I haven't seen one that sweet come through here in ages. I'll handle this one. It will be my pleasure. I'm like, what the fuck? Something wrong with y'all. But they are dead. So, you're right. Something is wrong with them. So she goes up. Sally goes up to the room. And he's like crying because he's getting raped. And not just raped. He has, like, there's this little drill bit, like it's real sharp and it's metal, and whoever the creature is, he's jamming it in his ass. And I'm like, I'm surprised he's not bleeding. Like, what the fuck? That shit looked painful. My heart went out to him. Like, oh, do drugs in new hotels. Don't do drugs in hotels. If you have to don't do drugs at all. But God, don't do them shits. In no old ass hotel like that. Like, oh fuck. So Sally comes in and she says, the more you scream, the more he likes it. I'm like, bitch, the fuck? And so he stopped screaming, but then he couldn't stop because he's jamming a hard metal, like, shit up his ass. And that can't be enjoyable. And she tells him, tell me you love me, and it'll all go away, and all the pain to stop. And say, I love you, Sally. He's like, I love you, Sally. And it's like, he's crying because the shit hurts. Then he says, I love you, Sally, the last time. And then he dies, and you see his pupils, basically not dilate, but expand. And so then, I guess his soul stays there, because if you die there, then I guess you stay there. They go to a scene where they go back to the precinct with the West Bentley officer. And he's walking out, and he gets a call from the strange person who wanted to call him earlier. And the person on the line was like, it's one of those weird scream, scary movie voices. What's your favorite movie? One of those voices. And he's like, why didn't you take my call? He's like, who the fuck is this? How do you get my number? And he was like, basically telling him to watch his back, because of what he saw today with the two couple that was committing adultery. It's going to happen again. So, it happened again, basically. Later on in the episode, he was with his daughter, and they ended up coming home because he got a text from his wife. The killer had copied duplicated her number, and texted him. It's like, come here immediately. So he went back to the house, or to somebody's house. I think that it was their house. And there were two men hanging there with their guts out and shit. And his daughter, Scarlett, she ran in there and she saw him. And she's like, what the fuck? Like, she was creeping out, and she's a little girl, so naturally. But It scared the shit out of her. And then eventually the mother came home. The mother is a doctor. I forget her name. The doctor came home and she was like, you know what, I are you okay? Is she okay? And she was really mad because they had had a child. Their son Holden, he had disappeared. His father was with him, and he basically, lost him. And so now this time she was really upset because, the daughter could have disappeared. Anything could have happened to her. And he's like, I would have lost a second child. And he's like, I'm going to go ahead and leave. And she said, you know what? Good. I hope you do. And it's not that I'm secretly upset because I want you to leave. And she said, I can't take it. She said, I love you so much, but every time I see you, you remind me of Holden. I have to push you away. And I just can't deal with you. And earlier in the episode, she was like complaining because she does house calls, and she's like, I'm not going to deal with these parents who will not vaccinate their children. I kind of felt what she was saying, but then on one hand, I didn't, because it's like, I don't really, what the fuck is in those vaccinations? Like, people keep asking, and doctors don't really give a straightforward answer. It's like, nah, you don't want a motherfucker walking around this bitch with measles and shit, but, and mumps and rubella and shit, but still. So that was with their family. And then we have the scene going to the Countess. Countess of the hotel. She's the owner. Her and her man, he's in the tub, and she's getting ready. I love the intro scene because, have that go-go dancer music. And then there's a sign in neon that basically says, what are you doing if you're not having sex right now? Like, if you're not having sex right now, you're not, you're not living or whatever. And so they go out, they get dressed. She looks fabulous. He looks very suave. And they walk through this cemetery. And across from the cemetery is an empty field with a field projector, and a movie is playing. I think it's Nosferatu. And they're picking up a couple. They're swinging. They take them back to the hotel. There's an Asian lady and a white man. And they go back to the hotel, and they're like, naked and about to have sex and all that. And they get on top of the other one. Countess gets on top of that white guy. And I think the guy, her boyfriend, his name is Donovan. Donovan gets on top of the Asian lady. They slit their throat and suck their blood out. So I'm like, well, this is going to be some good ass shit right here. And then Donovan was like, and Countess said, you didn't want to go out tonight. And Donovan said, no, I ain't got a problem going out. The dress up is fine. It's the cleanup that's the problem. And she was like, well, just call housekeeping shit. We ain't got to clean this shit up. That's why we have housekeeping. So then you get to a scene where you see what is his name? Wes Bentley, the cop. He's coming back to the hotel, and he's coming there for the first time, and he's getting the key to investigate room 64 because the creepy call told him that they would be at the Hotel Cortez in room 64. So he goes there, investigates the room. When he gets in the room, he looks around and he lays down and relaxes. But then the dead body of the gentleman who was a junkie earlier in the episode, he's still under the bed, and he opens up and has vomit coming out of his mouth. I don't think that's his body. I think that might be his soul. And I think that's who is waking up. We go back to Countess. There's a man that is a fashion designer. He's kind of like, I don't know, he's his own entity. He's not like a Versace, because I don't think he's that good. But he's a fashion designer. He has a son, and they come in, and he buys the hotel from the same realtor that was on Murder House. And I was like, well, okay, alrighty, you're gonna keep these jobs floating. These contracts. I'm like, I'm not mad at the shit. So she comes in, shows him the hotel, and Kathy Bates' character was like, who the fuck is you? Who is this? Who are you people? And she basically tells them, Will Drake bought the hotel. And she like, did anybody tell you guys? She's like, nobody tells me shit around this bitch. And she's like, oh, well, Well, now we're telling you, Will Drake is the owner. Will Drake finally gets to go meet Countess. Before he meets Countess, he has a run in with Donovan. Donovan's butt ass naked on the couch sleep, and apparently he doesn't get up till later in the afternoon. So, well, shit, if I had money, I wouldn't get up till late in the afternoon either. The real estate owner opens up the window. He gets up out the couch, butt ass naked. Like, who the fuck are you guys? What the fuck are you in my room for? They're in my loft and shit. And the little boy's looking like, oh god, there's dick everywhere. It's loose. Like, what is it? And his daddy covers his eyes and shit with his jacket, and he storms into this other loft and to the countess. And he was like, who the fuck is Will Drake, and who are these people? Invading my space. And she was like, hello, Will Drake, it's nice to meet you. Gave him a drink. He's like, I'm on a cleanse. She's like, not anymore. And he takes it. And he tells her all about his inspiration. And he hears a song here. And New York is no longer a place for the weirdos. And I was like, oh, okay. Not what I heard, but we're going to go with it in the show. So, he's like, I want a fresh start here and everything. And she's like, she's glad that he's here. And Donovan, he's being a smart ass. He's like, oh, well, what about us? Well, where are we going to live? You got a song for that, motherfucker? I was like, oh, God. I would say that Lady Gaga looks so good. I really, really, really like how she's looking for a hotel. I love the blonde. I love the fashions. I love the crystallized nails, and she's slitting people's throats. The next thing we get into is the two. I think they're Swedish. The two Swedish young ladies that were there earlier in the episode. They're both in a cage, in a neon cages. Kathy Bates' character, Kathy Bates' character is trying to feed them, get all the toxins out of them, because apparently when she went through their stuff, they had Xanax and Percocets and all types of pink pills and shit. And so basically, they're junkies too. This is like a hotel you go to get high, I guess. Like shit. I guess this would be to American Horror Story what Hotel Perez would be to American Horror Story what Normandy Plaza was to American Crime Story. So they're basically junkies. And so now Kathy Bates has to give them this little cocktail. It's probably going to be some nasty ass shit because medicine always is nasty. You can't ever have no good medicine that tastes good unless it's like fruit or some shit. But even that, like some fruits like pomegranate, when you freeze them shits, that shit is nasty. Now when it's not frozen, shit is good. You freeze it, ugh. Shit tastes like earwax. Don't ask me why I know what earwax tastes like. But so then she has to detox them, and as she's putting like a pipe down the one girl's throat, Sally walks in. She's like, "Oh, have some compassion." Kathy is like, "Bitch, you don't give a fuck about these girls." She said, "Oh, and you do? Shit, let me do it, and I'll show you. I'll get more cooperation than you will, because you too rough with the shit." So Kathy leaves, and she's like, "All right, fine, but you better do it right, because if you don't, you gotta explain to the countess why they blood still tastes like shit." And she's like, "Whatever, bitch, I'll do it." And she never really did it. She just told them that the room that they're in is used to be an entertainment room for marionettes, and they used to entertain people with strings and puppets and shit. And now you are going to entertain me. So one of the girls, she lets her free, and she says, "Run," and she doesn't run. Bitch stands in one place. She said, "Bitch, run!" And she runs off, and she starts cackling. And the other girl, in her language, she was like, "Don't leave me here. Don't fucking leave me here." And so she's running. As she gets downstairs, Kathy Bates' character sees her, and then she tried to catch her, but she's older and she's a little heavy. Well, not a little. She's heavy set, and she's tall and slim with long ass legs. So you just about ain't gonna catch that motherfucker. But before she can get out of the room, out of the hotel, Countess Lady Gaga, she's in the front door and she slits her throat, and so all this blood, just deep red corn syrup just dripping out her fucking neck, and then she passes out. And Kathy Bates' character was like, "Hey, I didn't know. I'm really sorry. I won't let this happen again." She said it better not happen to fucking again. That's what the fuck I know. And then she walks off. So basically, housekeeping got to clean that shit up, and all that. Um, then the next scene, basically, uh, after Will Drake leaves the house, he goes back to the apartment, and I believe that is the end of it. Hold on, I'm watching it right now. The last part of the video is Donovan and Sally. Now this is back in 1994, and they come in to get high and score. They don't even go to the desk because apparently Sally already has a room. She already has room 64 or some shit. Was it 64? I don't think it was. It was just a random room or some shit. She goes in, she gets high, she shoots up China White, and then she gives the shit to him. At first, he was like, I know you got a needle, another one, because I'm not sharing with your ass. She's like, bitch, please. I'm the cleanest motherfucker you know. And he's like, all right. He's a junkie, so, beggars can't be choosers. Shouldn't be no damn junkie, but whatever. So on the outside, his mother, she's looking for him, the Kathy Bates character. This is in 1994. So she's looking for him, and she goes to Liz Taylor at the front desk, and she said, listen, my son just went upstairs with that junkie. Can you tell me what room they're in? He was like, this is a no-tell motel, sweetheart. And he was like, give me some money if you want me to spare you the detail or want me to not spare the detail. And she was like, she tried to give him a couple dollars and shit. He was like, no, don't nobody want that shit. And she's like, where's an ATM? She's like, at the corner store with the maxi pads on. I was like, hey, sarcastic shithole. I love you. And so she gets to the corner store and gets back, gives him the money. He tells her what room they're in, and then she gets upstairs. But by the time she gets upstairs, he's already OD'd on the China White. So, Sally's in a mirror. She wakes up, putting her makeup on all wrong and shit. It's all over here like a kindergartner did the shit. And so Kathy Bates is banging on the door, trying to get in. And then Sally was like, fine, all right, I'll let you fucking in. And she finally lets him in, and she comes in the room, and she sees her son Donovan on the bed. He's basically strung out. He OD'd. He got marks all on his lips and shit. I don't even know if that's Sally's makeup or that's bite marks or just bruises and shit from his skin and everything breaking down and decaying from all the drugs. So he's dead, basically. And Sally's walking down the hall, and Kathy Bates comes out. Sally is looking out a window. I don't know why the fuck you would look out an open window. Like, bitch, no, I'm not safe with this. She looks out an open window, and she turns around. Kathy Bates mushes her face out the window, and she falls all the way. It's like it had to be at least 12 stories. She fell all the way down in the back of the alley, and she died. Cracked something. It sounded like her neck. She took a breath, like a little blood came out, and something else cracked, and then she died, and all her blood came out. And that was pretty much when she got back. She saw the Countess had her son in her embrace, and Countess looked good as fuck. She had the shades. Her hair was nice. Her outfit was laid. And she basically said, your boy has a jawline for days. And, she basically was about to save him. Because if she bites you, you can become, if you get to feed, you can become one of her, like a vampire like her. If you don't get to feed, then your body just dusts away, basically. So that was pretty much the end of the episode. Tell me what you think about it. I liked it. This is my second time seeing it. I watched the whole season through like a year or two ago, and then kind of didn't think nothing else about it. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. And tell me what you want me to review, because I'll review anything, well, almost anything, because there's some shows I'm just not gonna fucking watch, to be quite honest with you. But I'm not even couldn't give a fuck if I tried for some shows, so tell me what you want me to review, and I'll look through it, and I'll review most of it. So I'll see you guys later. I love you guys. Bye. Mwah.